to a Pod of Tea podcast, your go-to place for tea and chats. I'm your host Emma, and I am joined today by one Jack Ewins.
Hello again.
Couldn't say your middle name then.
Anthony.
Anthony.
Yeah. You taught me how to do the.
You used to say Anthony.
I still have a problem with saying THs when I say three.
Yeah.
And I get called out on my YouTube all the time. All the time
For
I get
saying
comments.
TH.
Yeah, they say like, Jurassic Park free, and they spell it like something's free in terms of price.
As opposed to the numerical
I get comments
3.
like that all the time. And
Yeah.
I'm like, on one part I'm just like, well, if that's a quirk I have to own, saying three in that way, I can say like through and Jack Anthony, and I've learned how to do all that, but three is the one I really struggle with it.
Yeah, it is hard. I got it kind of beat out of me in a way.
No, not physically.
Not physically, no, verbally. I was in The Wiz at school, and I played a character called Ada Pearl, and my song, it was in a musical, and the song I sang started with Sweet Thing. And I kept saying at the beginning of the song, I'd go, Sweet Thing. And my teacher got really annoyed at me.
Why didn't you sing?
She was like, say it properly. And she taught me, and now I say it.
Why didn't you sing Sweet Fang?
Sweet Thing, because not hip enough to do such things. Anyway, hello, welcome. We have been gone for a little while. Pod Tea's been having a little break. Yeah, I've decided I want to go down more of a reviewing format.
Pod of Tea, reviewing tea.
Reviewing tea, but also having chats along the way. Because
we did it the last episode we recorded. We did a bit of a review.
Yes, we did, of the masala tea, which was really nice.
Lovely.
I really enjoyed that. So today we went to a local tea shop in Norwich, the Tea Junction.
Yeah.
And Jack went in and he decided to pick a mystery tea. So I had no hand in choosing today's tea.
Yes, I just picked it. I saw it was called Kenya Kapko PF. That's what it says on the label.
Yeah.
And it's like a bag of tea, which is, I said in the shop, what kind is it? They said it's a black tea. And they said the lady who was serving me said it's the strongest tea in the shop.
The strongest tea. And it's currently brewing away in my teapot so it's a sort of green teapot and it's got a strainer in the middle, so you can put your loose leaf tea in. Oh yeah, it's loose leaf, guys. We're going up a notch here. So loose leaf tea goes in and it brews, and you can pour it out, and it's sort of pre-strained for you. But as I poured the tea in, I realised that the leaves on this are it's like a dust. So a lot of it is actually seeped through. So I'll be intrigued when we pour.
I'm hoping that it rests at the bottom because it gets like sludgy.
Yeah.
But see, this is my thinking. Are we meant to have done it how they served the tea at? Because we had a tea when we were there.
We did. Oh, it was so nice.
We can go into in a bit, but like I'm worried they had like a special filter that they put in the cup.
That was just a normal tea strainer.
So, but this teapot you've got on the side here, which obviously the listeners can't see, but the one you've taken a picture of, the complete glass one, is that filter got smaller holes in it?
I think they're about the same. Let's have a look. I'm going to open up this teapot. It's going to be really hot though. Yeah, look, see? The holes are the same.
Okay.
Woo! That was...
Well, hopefully,
warm on the fingers.
It expands to sludge and goes to the bottom.
And then goes to the bottom. So, yeah, I'm excited to try the strongest tea. Now, how strong do you usually take your tea, Jack?
Any.
You got any? Now, I know on a few occasions you've recklessly told me to leave the tea bag in.
I always tend to leave the tea bag in because the last quarter of the cup I found tastes so much different to the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's like a movie. It's like you build up to the climax.
Yeah.
And then when you drink that last mouthful, it's the purest taste of the tea that you can get because it's been brewing there for so long. Obviously, there's some tea bags that you can't leave in for too long or it goes bitter.
Yes.
Like
green tea. Yeah.
But I don't do it with that.
I don't tend to... The perfect tea for me, and there will be much debate on what is the perfect cup of tea, I think, but the perfect, classic, normal builder's tea, you would put the tea bag in with the water and give it a stir. So it lets the water kind of flow around it for a bit. And then leave it in for maybe 2 minutes. Problem is, I tend to make teas in a bit of a rush. So I make quite a few teas when I'm at work. And I'll get up and then you wait for the kettle to boil and you put it in. It's almost like it gets to look at the water and the tea bag's gone. Because I don't like it to go too strong. So this will be interesting. Because I don't tend to have too strong a cup of tea.
There was lots of other teas in there that I was sort of looking at. There was a lot of Japanese teas in there. And in all honesty, in hindsight, because we spoke to the manager there, Adrian, and he then presented us with cup of, what was it, Earl Grey and elderflower
Yeah.
and vanilla.
No, Earl Grey and lavender.
And lavender, that's
And
it,
vanilla.
yeah. And vanilla. And I'll let you explain why that was so exciting in a minute. But in hindsight, I kind of wish that was the tea that I'd picked.
Because it was so good.
It was so tasty.
I gave it a small review on my Instagram. So if you're following Pod of Tea on Instagram, you can see a picture. In fact, a picture of the tea strainer as well. You can kind of see it in the cup that I'm holding.
But
and I gave it a little review below.
I saw like Japanese green teas and all that sort of stuff that I was picking. But then I saw this Kenya Kapko and I went, I've never seen this name.
Yeah.
Because Japanese green tea, we had that when we were in Japan, and I recognise it. This, I was like, I have no idea what this is, no idea what it's going to be like, so it's perfect for this
let's
episode.
try it. So due to this being a stronger tea, I'm gonna rush us forward into pouring, I think, because I just don't know how strong is this going to be? How rock and roll can one tea get? So should we go sans milk first? I think it's the right way.
And then if
okay, moment of truth, guys. Will all the little bits of the tea start to flow out? Oh no, we're okay. I'm just gonna have that much. I think that's very dark. That is a very dark tea. There you go, Jack. I gave you the little teacup. Sorry.
That's okay. I will say that I was listening back to a couple of episodes of yours. Whenever you pour the tea, like, there was one time I really needed the toilet.
Oh no!
And then you poured that tea, and I was like, oh my god, it made it so much worse.
When Alice, I don't know if you heard the episode where Alice, my younger sister, was on, and she pointed that out, that it sounds like it's not. It's the delightful, relaxing tones of the tea pouring. It is not bathroom related. So let's have a smell of this tea. Okay. It does smell strong. So you can't see this obviously, but so you know what? If I saw that,
it looks like Coke.
It looks like coffee.
Coffee or
That
Coke?
looks like a black coffee.
Yeah, it looks like a black coffee or a Coca-Cola. Like someone just poured Coca-Cola.
Steaming Coca-Cola. Wow, okay.
Hot Coca-Cola.
Hot Coca-Cola. It is, honestly, you would, if someone handed me that, I think you would have given me a black Americano.
Right, I'm going to try it.
You're going to try it?
It's a bit hot.
You try it first. I'll try it after you, so then I can keep talking. I love that teacup that I've given you.
The stripy one.
Yeah, that was given to me when I was in college by a friend, and it's really, really lovely. I might put a picture up of it. What do you think?
That is pretty strong.
Is it?
I think I'm going to have milk with this.
Really? Okay, I'm going to try it too now then. Oh my! Ooh!
That tastes like the bottom of the cup when the bag's been left in.
Wow, this is strong. It's
tasty though. I will say, it actually just tastes like a normal cup of tea, just without any. Is this just like a really strong normal cup of tea?
Possibly. Now, Jack tried to Google this tea just before we started to see a bit more.
A brief Google.
Like the briefest of Google. So I'll have a little Google in a sec. So it didn't really bring up much, did it? Except for trading information.
Yeah. Well, that's all. I could find how much had been imported.
You know what? At the moment, I'm feeling like if you were not a coffee drinker, but you needed something to wake you up of a morning and you weren't too, I don't know what the caffeine content of this is, but you wanted something to give you a bit of a kick in the day, then perhaps this would be the tea of choice.
Yeah, no, I agree. They didn't put any ingredients on this or anything?
No.
Really?
Oh, with milk. I prefer that with milk.
Basically, this is a really, really strong English breakfast.
It is. This is a strong cup of tea without having to go through all of the patient waiting.
Oh my god.
That's what it is. It's instant strong brew.
Okay, so if anyone out there likes a strong cup of like English breakfast tea.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do the waiting for the bag to brew, Kenya Kapko PF is your go-to tea. This tastes like the strongest cup of tea.
I wonder if the PF is the name or if that's meant to be some kind of like tea
pure filtered,
perhaps. I was saying when we were drinking our tea earlier when we were in town, I was saying I wonder if they do a course similar to being a wine sommelier. I may be saying sommelier wrong, apologies if I am. So where you're an expert on wine, there must be the equivalent for tea, in which case I would be very interested in that. And then I could sit here and explain what the PF means.
Some would say you're already doing it with this podcast.
I'm doing it. I feel like I'm going to go on a bit of a journey because so far my experiences of tea have been whimsical. I've had teas, I've had fleeting moments of trying to describe them, but generally I kind of sit there and go, I like it or I don't like it.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 I will like it.
But
Whereas now I'm trying to dissect it a little bit more.
You want to be a tea snob.
I want to be a tea snob. And today the dissecting has come down to that is a strong cup of tea.
Yeah.
that's what we've concluded. Woo.
It's nice though.
I like it. This reminds me of, so our friends Ian and Emily, who are married, who live in London, the Longmores. Their name is Longmore. Ian, I remember, came up with an invention. So he likes a strong cup of tea. I will have to recommend this to him. He came up with the invention of getting a cup. So like if you were to buy a cup of tea from like a vendor that you, what's it called? Disposable cup. You'd put a thing in the bottom that you could put the tea bag in, and then like an extra layer on top of that, so you could keep the tea bag in the cup without having to worry about the tea bag splashing around or potentially hitting you in the face when you get the last dregs out, when it kind of falls back.
Yeah.
If you didn't have like a cap on top of your tea. So that reminds me of this.
I've got a dirty little secret.
Do you?
So like if I leave the tea bag in and it's like I've got a bit in left and if I was to tip the cup back to get the last remnants, the bag's going to hit me in the face. I just take it out with my fingers and then drink and put it back in the cup.
Do we explain the dirtiest of your secrets, which is sometimes you don't even use a teaspoon? Like when you're actually just making a tea normally. You pick the corner of the bag up. Please let me know if you also do this or if Jack is
okay, there is preference here.
Anomaly.
Before you explain what I do, it's only if the bag is floating.
Yeah. You don't like plunge your fingers into boiling pots. Scolding yourself just because you can't be bothered to turn around and get a teaspoon. No. The tea bag's floating. I will walk in and Jack will carefully pinch the corner and give it a little bob.
Give it a little dunk.
And then take it out.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who does that.
It's terribly uncouth.
I've stirred teas with pencils before.
With pencils? No.
Get that woody taste.
Oh, goodness. Lead poisoning. All that. You can't get lead poisoning from it. I remember that being a thing in school where they're like, if you know how if you went to a school like I did when you were younger, when kids would stab each other in the hand with the pencil and then like a bit of the pencil would break off and people would be like, oh my God, I never got stabbed by a pencil.
They used to do that?
Or any other.
Was that a common occurrence?
That was a thing in Wonbridge Primary. Some of the boys would like kind of do that, and then I remember one getting broke off and everyone was like, oh my God, you're going to die of lead poisoning. But obviously he wasn't, he just needed to have it splintered out.
Graphite, isn't it? It's
kids were like, oh my God, kids can be wild things. And I think one of the worst things I saw the boys do, I keep, I'm stereotyping here and saying the boys, but it was usually the boys that were up to this kind of mischief. Rambunctious lot. We had our TB jabs, so if you're unfamiliar, I think everyone will know what TB jab is. It's the one you get when you're in secondary school. It's the injection that tends to leave you with a scar. It's quite an intense injection. You had the little thing to see if you already were immune to TB.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah. And it made like a circle. Little
8 little pins that go in the circle.
And then if you weren't immune to it, you had to have this injection. And what some of the boys would do, this is a delightful conversation for a cup of tea, what some of the boys would do after the injections was punch each other on the arms and then get each other with deodorant. So spray deodorant on the arm in an attempt to get it to go a bit sour. And that's mean. Horrible, isn't it?
We had the punching happen at our school. Yeah, and I'm going to reveal a pretty nasty backstory of little Jack here. So there was a boy...
What'd you do? You've already admitted you stir tea with a pencil, Jack. How worse can we go?
I won't name names for the sake of being nice. But there was one kid at school who used to torment me name-calling all the time.
Oh.
Yeah. No, but they weren't a bully. They were like just a really irritating personality.
Yeah.
Right? Constant that. And then I remember laughing at them when they had their TB jab because they fainted.
Oh.
And I didn't.
And you didn't.
And I went, that's what you get for taking the mick and So, but I felt bad because he was, looking back in my memory of the image, I remember seeing him lying on the chair. He was really distraught. And I laughed at him.
Oh,
and I'm laughing at him again.
Well, I think the forgiveness that you would give other children for just being kids back in the day can also be applied to yourself.
I stabbed myself in my hand with a pencil once by accident. Yeah, I was holding the pencil with the pointed end towards the palm of my hand.
Why?
In maths, I was just holding it like that.
Maths, that explains everything. No.
Yeah, I had my pencil, and I was just holding it in my hand like. I don't know how to describe this for listeners, but like the pointed end was towards my palm, and I was just holding. And then for whatever reason, I don't know why, I was talking to someone and I just slammed my hand on the side, and then I lifted my hand up and the pencil had snapped off and it was in my hand, and it healed over. And I swear to God, if I can get it in the right light, you can see a little dark mark that I swear is...
You still have a pencil in your hand?
Well, I swear there's something in there. It's there. Like, can you...
Oh my goodness.
Can you... I know no one can see this, but can you see that dark mark there?
Yeah, I can.
That's where
Listeners,
it was.
I can confirm there is a dark mark.
Yeah,
on
and
Jack's
I used
hand.
to swear that I could feel that tiny little thing and I could feel it in there.
Yeah.
But I can't anymore.
Well, yeah.
Unless it is that small. It's broken down over the years inside
it's just
me. But it's graphite, it's not lead.
Yeah.
So lead poisoning, it's like, that's not...
Yeah, you don't need to worry about that.
I could be wrong. I don't know if they may have used to use lead.
It would have come from somewhere. A lead pencil, that's
it could
the
have
thing.
been a playground.
Yeah, a little rumour.
Oh, that's lead.
Yeah.
That one kid learnt what lead was and thought it'd be funny because it looks like what's in a pencil. And
yeah.
Like, that's lead, you know.
I'm decisively quite squeamish. So all of this intense talk, I'm quite glad of the strong tea right now, I must say.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm quite...
But that's also stemmed from your education.
That's from university. I bet I won't go into too much detail, but I was told to watch a video as part of reading week. We went into a lecture hall and we had to watch this video on this type of performance art. And me being me, I hadn't realised what kind of things people might do in performance art. And
anything and everything.
To skirt around the subject, they can do things that are quite graphic and quite painful. Quite rather, somewhat...
all out graphic.
They went for it. And because I wasn't expecting it, my filter that normally would have sat there, like when I had used to watch horror movies and things, there'd always be that filter that would say it's not real, so it's fine. And in this instance, that filter couldn't come into play, and it just hit me in the middle of this watching of the video that it was real and those people were actually hurting. And it's like this big wave of empathy hit me, and I could just feel everything that was going on. And yeah, well, actually, no, I didn't fake there. I ran to the bathroom thinking I was going to be sick, and then I woke up with my friend Steph looking over me going, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
So, and since then I've had a blood phobia.
Yes, but you're also a little bit of an enigma, because there's things that films I've shown you and stuff, and I'm like, oh, Emma, you're not going to like this bit, and you've sat through it.
I think it's been lessened over the years, though. I think that filter, when watching fiction, is starting to seep back in, and I can start watching things. When I really, really know it's not real, it's okay. And if it's something that it's when my imagination takes control. So if I see something, so again, not wanting to go into too much detail, but we were watching a film earlier where something horrible happens to someone's arm and we had to turn it off. And that's because I've never seen that happen before, and my brain just went into overdrive, and I was just like, oh my God, that would feel horrible. And
FYI, we didn't turn it off because you were squeamish.
It was also a terrible film.
It was a terrible film.
Terrible, terrible film.
And we turned it off halfway through because we were like, this is rubbish.
That was the clincher for me, though. That happened. It was mid that happening.
You were compromised already by that. Because no matter what happened after that, you were thinking about that.
Yeah, and it was only going to get worse, because that was about 12 minutes in, so they weren't going to peak there, were they? That was going to be an unpleasant
Just
movie.
for context, we sound like terrible people turning a film off after 12 minutes.
Oh, it's awful, isn't it? But sometimes, sometimes you have to call it.
We just went in the mood. We had other stuff to do today.
We did. We bought
But I don't know,
that
like your
dress we bought our niece.
I know.
We've had a delightful day, apart from the terrible, horrible movie.
But the thing is, it's like, but I can never tell what's gonna make you squeamish. Like I thought when we started, we don't really watch it anymore. Well, we don't watch it anymore. But when we started watching Walking Dead, I was really worried that this was going to be too much for you, because it got really gory.
I looked away.
You got into it. You didn't care.
I think the plot was the Walking Dead plot was very, very good, and I think a lot of the violence in it wasn't without reason, due to it being based on zombies. Mm-hmm. And I think that filter of like, it's obviously not real.
Yeah.
Came in. Towards the end bit, I think we got up to the part with Negan. Was that his name? That's where we ended it, because it just got so depressing. But
we just didn't care.
Yeah. Also, Walking Dead is the reason I went vegetarian, as did you for a bit.
Was it really?
Yeah, we watched two things. We watched a documentary, and we had watched an episode of Walking Dead. There's one in particular, and that sent sent us down the road of not eating animals anymore.
Well, yeah. And you're still on that track.
I'm still on that track,
I've
yeah.
faltered.
Yeah.
But, there's been other times where, like, I thought you... I don't know, I kind of knew you might get squeamish, and then, yeah, it turned out you have. Like, Prometheus was... I remember that was one of the ones that really got to you, and you couldn't escape it because we were in the cinema.
Yeah,
that particular scene came on where she has to get the alien out of her stomach, and you had your popcorn box at the ready. And you were looking away at the screen.
I thought it was game over.
I still watch that scene to this day, and I have this... It's Ridley Scott, what he did with the original Alien and what he did with Prometheus, he knows how to get under your skin with that kind of stuff. And I think he got to me with the scene in Prometheus. And every time I watch it now, every single time I'm like, oh God, that's so disgusting. But, yeah, it serves the story, so I don't mind it. I think gratuitous stuff like that, it annoys me if it doesn't serve.
I think I've hit that point in my life where... you don't spend every hour every day watching films and TV, and I try and be productive in my spare time. And I think I've realised that when I want some escapism, I kind of want it to be a more pleasant experience, and I'm better served by watching, like consuming some kind of media, be it a book or a game or a film, when it has a more positive outlook on it, so when it's something a bit nicer. So, like, I don't mean things that I try and avoid things that might challenge me. There are, I try and keep my horizons broad. But when I'm specifically looking to escape for a bit, I think I am drawn to which is, say, for example, video games. I'm very much more of a Nintendo person than some of the other consoles, because Nintendo tend to go a bit more cartoony and that sort of thing. And I like things where I can escape to a more pleasant realm than something that's a bit more gritty. And I think I've sort of realised that and accepted that a bit more as I've got older. I'm sort of forcing myself less and less to watch things that I don't, or like, for example, on the other end of the spectrum, reality shows, and I just don't like them. Like, reality TV where you see people being unpleasant to each other. I don't get anything like, I know people can be horrible, so I don't need to see it in front of me.
Yeah,
there's but then maybe
with reality shows, I think they always start from a really interesting place. I remember when Big Brother started, I didn't really watch it, to be honest. I was a bit too young, but I heard about it. I say a bit too young. I could have seen it, but I couldn't be bothered. But I yes, please, more tea. But I like the social sort of commentary. I like the idea of, what do you do if you put people in a house?
Yeah.
And there's nowhere they can go for this amount of time. What will happen to the social hierarchy and the structure in the house?
The sludge has just come out. I have sludge in my tea, but I'm sure it'll still be yummy. I think what you're clocking onto there, and I think I was a bit too broad.
Like, I like the premise, but it always gets ruined.
Yeah, I think I was a bit too broad with my tarring reality shows with the same brush there, because I've often enjoyed first dates, and that is because I found that a lot of the time they're actually actively trying to put people together that they thought was what they wanted. Yeah, so when it went wrong, it's usually because the person asked for qualities in someone, and actually that's not really what they were after. So that was quite pleasant. What I don't like is when they set up things to be dramatic, so they try and put the polar opposite people together just to create the drama. Yeah. And there's enough drama in life without TV shows. Says the girl with a drama degree. Yeah. There's enough drama in life. We don't need to. Of course, we need to add to it. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm concerned about that. Is definitely going to be stronger now.
I'd say just drink gently from the edge.
Yeah, because there is definitely some sludge hanging out.
Yeah, you can have some of mine. I've got loads of tea. So
yeah,
if you reach the sludge, we'll share this one.
This is the whole pot. So the sludge, we're not making that sound very nice, but honestly,
this is a nice tea.
Yeah.
It's just you need a really fine filter.
You need a fine filter, or just not pour as enthusiastically as I did just then.
Or put it in, brew it in something else, and then make it so when you pour it. I don't know what I'm saying.
I think this has been poured fine.
What
It's
I'm saying
only
is
the end where any sludge came out. Prior to this, every pour has just been like there haven't been any bits in the one that I just drank.
That's true.
So I think it's fine. I think you need to just not, when you reach the end of the pot, don't tip the whole pot up and try and get the last bits of liquid out. That's where I've gone wrong here. So Jack, I'm going to quickly look on my phone and see what comes up when I type in Kenya Kapko.
Okay,
I wonder what we might find. Kenya Kapko. Black tea imports. Yeah, it's just about importing.
Well, I'm guessing this is from Kenya.
Yeah, we would presume.
Which is pretty neat.
Tea? What if I put tea after it? No. Kenya tea. It's
What if
not.
you-
No
what if
one's
you-
describing this tea.
What if you just write in Kapko tea and
Okay.
remove the Kenya part? Because that might be what's throwing the Google thing off. The location. No?
Nope. Wow. This is a mystery tea, my friends.
If those at the Tea Junction are actually listening to this, maybe they can give us some more, or send us some more information if they feel inclined about this particular blend. It comes from a tree, I know that much.
It comes from a tree.
Well, it comes from the same tree all teas come from. That's what he said when I was buying it at the shop.
Maybe I'll have to do a bit more of a research, I think. Maybe in the next episode we can do a small segment on, did we find out what Kenya Kapko tea actually is? Have we mentioned it's a black tea?
Yeah.
We have mentioned it's black tea.
Yeah.
So very good with milk. I definitely recommend milk with this blend. Especially if you don't like your tea too strong. Although I must say, so it's strong, but it's strong in the sense of like still being flavoursome. It's not strong. You know when you can overbrew tea, like you're saying with the green tea, and it can go bitter. Like it's not an unpleasant strong. It's just like whoo.
No, it's just strong. I wouldn't recommend people who don't like strong tea drinking this.
Yeah. Okay,
You don't like
a strong tea. Don't get this tea.
But
yeah,
I drink anything. When I was a kid, I used to love milky teas. Like dip the bag in, get it out.
Yeah.
And it was like I used to love it. Then I sort of went, no, I like sort of thing. And now it's like anything.
Yeah.
I like any. You can give me a milky tea, you can give me a strong tea, I'll drink it.
My nephew often, like my sister, will sort of do half a mug of milk and then fill the rest up with a tea from cause she tends to do a teapot.
Yeah.
From there, and he'll sit and enjoy that. I didn't like tea. Charlotte Harding will need to get on this podcast soon, and then I can finally, because I don't want to go into it without her, but she's the reason I drink tea.
Yes, because you were a late bloomer.
I was a late bloomer
now
with the
you
tea.
have your own podcast.
I have
about
committed in ways
tea.
that surpassed my initial. I do look back. So my first job was in a cafe called Drucker's, and we were given free tea and coffee. So like I could have lattes, I could have cappuccino, and I didn't like any of that back then. And all I'd have was an occasional hot chocolate when I could sort of beg people to make me a hot chocolate.
Madness.
Awful. What wasted realms of it. Although I'm lucky now where I work, I also get free tea and coffee. So
You're making up for lost ground.
I am. I do tend to have a latte a day, which is bad. The caffeine addiction is back. Every now and then I try and curb it, but it's back with the force. It's like 2 cups of coffee a day and all the tea that I drink. Oh my god.
How do you go to bed so early if you got all that caffeine?
Because I have a cut-off point.
Yeah.
I hit from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon onwards, I have to try and stop drinking caffeine. So either I'll switch to herbal teas or I'll decaf if I'm just for the psychological.
Yeah.
Oh god, I sound like an addict. Yeah. And then when I get home, I tend to have a herbal tea, don't I?
Yeah.
Tea. Yeah.
Tea.
So there we go. So this is the strong Kenya Kapko PF. What do you mean PF? I don't know.
Pure filtered.
Pure
that's why
filtered.
it's why I believe that's why that's what it is, because it's like dust, like you said. It's been filtered many times.
Yeah, makes sense.
I guess.
From the Tea Junction.
I don't know.
He doesn't know. He's guessing.
I'm guessing PF.
He's just guessing things.
There's enough space on the label for them to write PF, but they just wrote PF.
Who knows?
There's loads of space on this. If you
There's
could
so
see this
much
label,
room.
check out the Instagram. You'll see the label.
Yeah. So thank you for listening, guys.
Yes, thank you.
These will be more frequent again. We'll go back to our bi-weekly format. Who knows? I might even cheat over into one a week. We'll see how enthusiastic I get. We'll try a new tea next time. Thank you, Jack, for coming on the podcast again.
No worries.
It was great to have you here. And yeah, please do subscribe. These are now finally loaded up to YouTube. as well as being on iTunes and Podbean. So please subscribe, please leave a review, and if you have any tea recommendations, if there's anything that you would like us to try on this podcast, please email podoftea@gmail.com or shoot me a message on Instagram. Cool. Bye, guys.